There is an urgency to the kingdom of heaven. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, Jesus spoke about the kingdom of heaven 2,000 years ago, and he hasn't returned yet. I get it. The underlying thought there is that anything that takes 2,000 years to come to fruition can't be on a particularly urgent time frame. But the truth is, if we read Jesus' words, we come to a different conclusion. I want you to listen to this parable that Jesus tells. It comes just before the parable of the talents, which we read yesterday. Then the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 virgins who took their lamps and went to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish and 5 were wise. For when the foolish took their lamps, they took no oil with them, but the wise took flasks of oil with their lamps. As the bridegroom was delayed, they all became drowsy and slept. But at midnight there was a cry, "Here is the bridegroom! Come out to meet him!" Then all those virgins rose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said to the wise, "Give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out." But the wise answered, saying, "Since there will not be enough for us and for you, go rather to the dealers and buy for yourselves." And while they were going to buy, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went in with him to the marriage feast. And the door was shut. Afterwards the other virgins came also, saying, "Lord, Lord, open to us." But he answered, "Truly I say to you, I do not know you. Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour." In talking about the urgency of the kingdom, we are not discussing a specific time frame. What we are discussing is the need to be ready. The timetable God's kingdom operates on is not as limited in scope as our own. Time itself is not perceived by God in the way that we perceive it. Note that the parable doesn't tell us when these virgins assembled. It doesn't tell us how long the unprepared were away buying oil. Some of these things might be assumed if you're familiar with the culture, but Jesus is unconcerned with the length of the wait, and more concerned about the preparedness of the two groups. One group is living as though the arrival of the bridegroom is imminent, like it's going to happen. The other isn't. In fact, we might say that the group that is prepared doesn't only live like the wedding feast is about to happen, they live like it's already begun. The lamps are prepared, the oil is topped off, and there's more in reserve. The second group lives like they believe the wedding feast either isn't going to happen or that shopping at midnight is an acceptable way to prepare for a feast. Jesus wants us to live as though the kingdom of heaven is imminent, not because he wants to catch people off guard, but because he wants us to already have assumed the role of citizens before he comes to call us in. We should live like the kingdom of heaven is the reality we already expect, rather than a possible reality that we can latch onto at the midnight hour. I love you, and I pray today that you would choose to live a life prepared for the kingdom. Don't wait. The midnight hour comes more quickly than we expect.